What's good, y'all? What's good? Welcome back to Passive Income Network. My name is C. Will, and on today's live stream, we're about to be going in. We got a lot to talk about, so let's talk about the headline. Here it is. Algorand April recap, really the title, excuse me. Algorand April recap, Ondo tokenized voting and base supports ALGO. That's the question I have. So we're going to cover all three of these topics today. And again, April closed out for a very explosive month for the Algorand ecosystem. And it is nice to see Bitcoin holding 80,000 price level. It's reclaimed 80,000. And this is positive for the overall market, for the overall crypto industry. We still don't have the Clarity Act, and that's okay. But if you're in the Algorand ecosystem, you're probably going to be real excited. So if you haven't been up to date, today's live stream is going to show you and educate you on what's actually been happening inside of the ecosystem. So as we begin, make sure y'all hit the live button or like button. If you are new to the stream, make sure you subscribe. Remember, we have channel membership now available. Become a yield watcher or become a yield insider. So that way you can get some exclusive content unlocked. Now let's get to the details of today. Now I want to share this with you. We'll start it off with this here. I made this post yesterday, and I think this is one of the most explosive things that has happened recently. Two of my favorite blockchains, platforms, they're coming together, y'all. They're coming together. So here it is, ticker symbol Alpha, now trading on Aerodrome, is a huge unlock for the ALGO native prediction market, Alpha Arcade. The new EVM capabilities is more fuel to the flame. So what happened is Alpha Arcade, which is essentially the number 3 largest prediction market in volume, has made its way to Aerodrome. Aerodrome is essentially the largest by volume base and users overall in the base ecosystem. Aerodrome is fire. I really like that platform. I think they're building a great product. And you guys already heard about the EVM capabilities where you can use a MetaMask wallet essentially and go bet directly on Alpha Arcade, EVM to AVM. Big unlock there. So that's why I want to hit y'all off with the banger first. I think this is some of the most important news that has just happened, right? Now, this post comes out here from France.algo. France.algo listed everything essentially that's important that happened in April. So we're going to use this as a source. April was another busy month for Algorand. Here's a recap. A few weeks after the Google Coinbase also highlighted Algorand's work on post-quantum cryptography in its latest paper. So yeah, Google, we know about that. Coinbase also echoed the same information. Massive news as EVM users can now access Algorand's decentralized apps with their existing EVM wallets. Just talked to you about that. And so this update here, X-Chain now live, starting with Alpha Arcade. Millions of EVM users can now tap in to Alpha Arcade. So again, big unlock, Alpha Arcade getting the exposure, okay? Just connect MetaMask, Rabby, or EVM wallet. Algorand now fully supported across X402 stack, powering programmable payments for AI agents, apps, and internet commerce. I've been talking to y'all about this one for a while. Another Coinbase connection, okay? And then this one I thought was interesting right here. ALGO was added to Japan's JVCEA green list, a major regulatory milestone enabling fast-track exchange listing under FSA overseen approval. Japan, Algorand, ALGO token being available. I like that. This month, Algorand surpassed 3.5 billion transactions and 60 million blocks generated since launch. And remember here, zero downtime, no hiccups. That's the big unlock per usual. You know, people like to compare blockchains of Solana, which they rightfully should because Solana has the most transactions, the most users, the most volume. Scalability, not his thing. Still surprised about that one. And then we go down here. We'll skip past the quantum day. Few must-watch videos. This is basically Algorand Foundation people speaking on different podcasts. Then we got the Wrapped BTC, Wrapped ETH are now live on Algorand via Folks Finance. It's Wormhole NTT bringing cross-chain Bitcoin and Ethereum directly to Algorand DeFi. I think Wrapped Bitcoin, Wrapped ETH, which is very common on the base blockchain, very common on some of the other blockchains, is a good. I remember, if it's still around, Go BTC, Go ETH, they didn't get as much adoption, so it makes sense to bring what is already being used, okay? Over 1 million USDC has now been bridged to and from Algorand via All Bridge. The biggest path from what my research said was from base to Algorand. So seeing more base, more Algorand collaboration, partnerships, or accessibility, I think is the way to go. My two favorite blockchains, for sure. US users can now buy ALGO directly in Parawallet. That's nice for US users. We get an update on validators, 250 validators in 2023 to 1,500 in 2026. That is a major leap. Algorand was highlighted in UNDPs. Remember, this is the United Nations Development Department. Latest report on this blockchain practice powering real-world pilots with whole chain. I remember hearing the speech of whole chain at the Algorand Decipher, whole chain traceability for global supply chains using blockchain. So another one of those real use cases that people like. Country as a Butterbean sub. What's good, Butterbean? What's good? And again, say what's good as you join the stream. See some of y'all watching. Fresh on-chain activity from Lavazza in April show continued real-world uses of Algorand to power traceability across one of its coffee ranges. So you got whole chain, you got Lavazza, and I remember I made a post. I seen them in a movie I was watching with Ryan Reynolds on Netflix. That was very interesting. So you got update from Travala, how you can pay with USDC and Algo. Again, more info on from Block Hash Pod with Mark. So people out here are obviously working to spread the gospel of Algo, right? So let's see. SEC announced Algo is also a commodity, like a few of the others. Cryptos makes sense. And so far here, I think that's like the main information for the month. April was explosive. April was very explosive. Now let's keep this going for the April recap. Again, Google, we got Coinbase. We cover some of this here. This is good. Similar information from the last post. Now, getting back to the Alpha Arcade, Alpha is currently live on Aerodrome. Let me refresh this page here. Currently live on Aerodrome. This is a link to the liquidity pool. It is just getting started. Obviously, this announcement came out a day or two ago. Alpha USDC pool, those are my favorite type of pools. You see the volume, you see the fees, you see the TVL. People were really hyped about Alpha because when it dropped, it went from 0.002 cents to up to 2 cents at its peak. That's a 10x. That's something crazy. You haven't seen a token like that on Algorand happen in a long time. That's what Alpha pulled out for everyone. But what's more important is just in general seeing Alpha Arcade, their token live on base. On Algorand, when you hold the Alpha token, you receive USDC payouts from the fees collected about the platform, and then they do a burn with a percentage. Question I would have to find out is this still applied to the base blockchain? Otherwise, volume-wise, you got Kalshi, Polymarket, Alpha Arcade. So being the top three, I I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. We just need more liquidity, more platform visibility. All right, let's get to this here. Then we have XGov. So Algorand Foundation said, let's promote this. Calling all XGovs. There are currently 11 live proposals in the XGov portal with 10 ending in less than a week. Don't miss your chance to cast your vote. So XGov is the governance platform where a lot of platforms are essentially seeking funding retroactively, or they're building open source type tools or some type of deliverables that will help out the ecosystem as a whole. Got to pay attention to this. Stay tuned. But let's see, Web 2 to Algorand consumer onboarding infrastructure, something in Latin America, 250,000 ALGO is paid out in ALGO. Astro Explorer retroactive funding for approving Algorand gaming platform. Open source handoff, 200,000 ALGO. Liquid stream, chain agnostic, micro billing, video streaming, interesting. Got post quantum accounts to xgov/LoRa website using liquid authorization. Open source real-time farming contracts. Open source cosmic champs Web3 gaming stack for Algorand ecosystem. Okay. The reward suite by ASA Stats, all-in-one infrastructure for transparent contributor rewards. Open sourcing Grandma loyalty program. Shout out to Grandma. Multi-pool soft staking infrastructure for Merkle power rewards. Open sourcing Algo Glazer, the Algorand blockchain explorer. So a lot of different type of projects there, seeking not too crazy amounts of money. That's pretty dope. Yeah, so basically they're saying participate, y'all. Just participate. People vote no or yes, essentially. All right. And I made a short about this one, so y'all go check this out. But what I thought was interesting here is HisaabPay. I like covering HisaabPay. So HisaabPay is a proof of concept that the Algorand blockchain's technology can work at a scale and a use case that is necessary in the developing economies of the world, even some parts of the United States. HisaabPay. So this is kind of like what's been going on since the last 12 months. $61 million or 2.3 million transactions in regards to electricity bills. 4 million and 2 million transactions in regards to airtime. Thank you. To airtime, then you have 15 million transactions by 900,000 different wallets, 56 branches, and 1,200 agents across 56 provinces. That's a lot of people. 900,000 wallets, okay? Then you got $2 million worth of transactions from the post office, 250,000 of those. Aid recipients, $30 million were distributed to 130,000 families. 20 million and 300,000 transactions peer-to-peer. So basically, in Afghanistan, they got volume. They got real volume happening on HisaabPay, which is built on the Algorand blockchain and also supported, obviously. But this is one of those things where you get the humanitarian side of it, you get the real blockchain use case side of it, and you can see money flowing actually happening on the blockchain, which again is a proof of concept. Then you mix that with whole chain, with a few other things going on, Lavaza. These are enterprise type services. And as people want to say, win price. Don't worry about that now. I think action needs to happen because Bitcoin is just starting to wake up. Then you start to worry about price when Bitcoin is going back to the all-time high. That's where I'm at with it. Y'all let me know if that makes sense. All right, let's move forward to more Algorand news. April explosive for sure. So then you got Q1 2026 marked at a peak for Algorand's decentralization. Algo stakes surpassed 2 billion for the first time, with 1.6 billion held by a community, a new all-time high, now representing 80% of total consensus stake. I've been participating for sure. So decentralization, obviously, on the Algorand blockchain is a real thing. If you look at Q1 all the way to Q1 of 2026, the last year, The stake has only gotten bigger. And as I showed you or read to you in the previous breakdown from France.algo, you went from 250 validators always to 1,500. The stake has gotten larger. The nodes are more spread out. That's positive. So now this is the last April update I got for y'all in regards to Algorand. The Algorand Foundation Q1 2026 transparency report is live. You got transaction volume, stablecoin, market cap, and monthly active users all increased, with community stake reaching the new highs, as I just showed you below. And here's the overview of the metrics. Transaction volume up 3.4%. Community stake, I just showed you that. Foundation stake smaller, like it should be. Stablecoin market cap up 8.6%. Pair monthly active users up. That's good. It's very good. Pair is being used more. And then 20 million ALGO distributed in Q1. I definitely got some of those running the node with Valar. So that's what I got for y'all. That's a explosive month for April. That's been happening. And at the same time, I've already answered I already talked about two topics in the question. Algorand's April recap. I like that. And then when it's base supports algo, really it's base supporting Aerodrome as a proxy of algo, right? And then algo supporting base via Allbridge with the stable coin transfers, USDC, and then the new EVM capabilities. So it's starting to slowly become a two-way street. I think that's positive. Now, this next section here, topic rather, that we're going to talk about on this stream is Ondo Finance, the one right in the middle between the recap, base supporting algo. We're talking about Ondo's tokenized voting. On the last stream, people were asking more about Ondo. And the part that I think is the most interesting is the tokenized on-chain voting. So let's get to some of the details about Ondo, and then we'll dive in deeper into the voting aspects. Let's watch this clip.
We have about $100 trillion in assets, 1.4 billion CUSIPs within our custody. We're allowing our participants and their clients to have the ability of leveraging tokenized assets as collateral, and you can move that collateral literally at the speed of the network. So think about it. If you're from Kyoto, right? So if you're trying to finance security during Japanese trading hours, we're asleep here in the US and you want to use a US security to do so, if it's in your wallet, you can move it, you can use it. And this is just the beginning of what we believe over a period of time, that we will rebuild the infrastructure and the rails of the US capital markets.
That's the key word right there. Rebuilding the infrastructure. When they talk about the new financial order, this is a part of it. Capital markets are moving on chain. This is just the beginning. We will rebuild the infrastructure of the rails of the United States Capitol. Pay attention to Ondo. Pay attention to Larry Fink even more because of BlackRock, which is the largest asset manager on the globe. No doubt about that. So here we go. Tokenization has become too big to ignore per CoinGecko's 2026 RWA report. Tokenized stocks alone scaled from 2 million to 487 million in under 1 year. Damn. With Ondo highlighted as a key driver, Ondo's September 2025 launches a drove of assets class to 3x in market cap within a single month. That's crazy. That's crazy. 2 million to 487 million. This ain't a trend, y'all. This is not a trend. Again, will that translate to Ondo price? I think we wait till Bitcoin wakes up. Ethereum has to wake up. All right, here's an example here. Take Intel, where the United States government's $8.9 billion stake from August 2025 has quadrupled to $36 billion as the stock hit an all-time high. That's crazy. Obviously, that's a socialist government pump, in my opinion, though. But hey, because they buy at the bottom essentially, which gives Intel more, more visibility, more contracts, more money, more partnerships with companies like NVIDIA and whatnot, more facilitation, and then boom, we've seen it hit an all-time high last week. Crazy. The U.S. government is directing capital into the companies it believes will define the next era of global competition. Tokenized stocks are opening that same opportunity to the rest of the world. So you got the U.S. stake in August, right at this bottom, more than doubled in value, and then by January, and then just quadrupled in value just last week. That's crazy. Kudos to anybody who was in Intel randomly, right? Then we got another landmark week for tokenization. So proxy voting, that's the main thing I want to talk about. Proxy voting comes to tokenized stocks. Visa expands stablecoin settlement to 5 new chains. Meta adds stablecoin creator payouts. Yeah, that's popping. Really go to this part here. Ondo partners with Broadridge to bring voting capabilities to tokenized stocks. Ondo holders of Ondo tokenized stocks and ETFs will be able to express proxy voting preferences for the underlying securities. And this is the main story. Let's go right here. So recommendations will be weighed proportionally based on token ownership, with Ondo facilitating the attribution of voting recommendations from token holders to specific stock. Broadridge will provide token holders with the corresponding investor communications, with Ondo Global Markets consent aggregate their vote preferences alongside the votes of traditional market participants. Interesting, right? Because you essentially, when you're buying ETFs and things of that nature, you're really giving up your ability to vote for the most part. Ondo's trying to bring these they are doing it right now. The capabilities are coming back in some type of proxy type of way so that your voice is still heard. And if you have used any, especially for people outside the United States, if you have tapped into some of the Ondo ETFs, if you're holding any of the tokenized stocks, let me know what that experience is like. That's what I'm really curious about, mainly to see, like, what is the experience like, y'all? What is the experience like? I need to know. But anyways, to close out, Ondo is cooking up something that I haven't seen anywhere else. And it's just reinforcing to me that tokenization is something that we have to watch. Obviously, the US dollar being tokenized via USDC. If you're outside the United States, now you got access to stocks, you got access to ETFs, treasury bills. Totally makes sense. And at the same time, it's about spreading the US dollar and the US economy into the new financial system or the payment rails of the future. Currently happening now, but definitely pay attention in 2030. That's when it's going to be really popping as stable coins mature, laws get more clear, Fed interpretations or SEC interpretations are more sticky. Okay. So that's what I got for y'all today. Let me know if you want me to cover anything else for the next live stream. Otherwise, I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Make sure that you check out the YouTube membership if you want to join. Got more exclusive content popping off that I think will really interest you. I could talk about some other things that I'm building that I have not shared on this channel so far. So let me show you a link to it. We have yield watchers, we have yield insiders. Obviously, there's more perks in the yield insiders. Members only polls, members only shorts, weekly community polls, private live streams, and a few other benefits there. So make sure that y'all tap in with me, and I will see you on the next stream. Leave a comment. Let me know what you like about today's episode. See you in the next one.
Passive income, gold in my dental. Thank God for my mental. Investor fundamentals. Told my girl it was simple.